Welcome to the Genus quarterly video commentary for the first quarter of 2025. My name is Ian Lesher. I'm a partner and portfolio manager at Genus Capital Management, and I'm joined along with Justin Hahn, our macro strategist. A lot of uncertainty going on these days, so we have a lot of questions from clients that we know they want answered. Justin, what have we done inside the portfolio lately to try to mitigate some of the volatility that's coming from the markets?
Yeah, so we have seen a lot of increased volatility since President Trump's post-Liberation Day announcement. So in order to reduce the volatility, we have made some moves. The big move that we have is we've reduced the beta of the portfolios to market weight, a bit under market weight. So the beta just represents the sensitivity of the portfolio to the market. So if it's less than the market, we expect it to move a bit less than what the market moves. In addition, we've reduced our weighting in industrials and financials because those will be the most affected due to the tariffs. And geographically speaking, we have reduced our underweights in the US, so bringing everything more towards benchmark weight. In addition, in the most recent rebalances, we have reduced our cyclical a bit and leaned a bit more towards the defensives, such as consumer staples, healthcare, and communications.
So in general, we're just de-risking the portfolio.
Yep.
So when it comes to the tariffs, what do we view as positive outcomes of some of this trade war uncertainty and potential negative developments that also could arise from all of this tariff talk?
So we have been seeing President Trump take his foot off the gas a bit, and we have seen a bit more compromise in terms of the trade negotiations. So if we see a bit more compromise on that front, there would be a very big positive for both equity and bond markets. We have seen over the weekend that the auto sector may be getting a bit of a reprieve, as well as electronics also getting an exclusion, which helped boost market confidence a bit. In terms of negatives, if we see some more negativity coming out of the tariffs, as well as credit spreads widening in the bond front, that would be a negative for the markets.
Okay, so we'll bring it back to Canada. In Canada, there's tariff talk on all the kitchen tables, over dinner, walking the dogs. People bring it up. What kind of shape is Canada really in when it comes to this tariff war, and in particular when we do retaliatory tariffs? And how do we view Canada's position in terms of do we have leverage or not in this situation?
Yeah, so we view the overall tariff retaliation from Canada as more of political rhetoric. We do think that it's talking tough ahead of the elections and looking stronger for all the voters. We do think Canada is in a much less aggressive position and a worse position when it comes to negotiations. This is because 75% of Canadian and Mexican imports go to the US, while less than 15% of exports from the US come into Canada and Mexico. So on that front, we do think we do have a lot less leverage, and post-elections, we do expect a bit more negotiations.
Okay, clients are hearing a lot of talk about US Treasury yields, and in particular the 10-year US Treasury yield. Why are we hearing so much talk about US Treasuries?
Yeah, so the focus on Treasuries is due to the amount of government debt that the US government has, along with the rest of the world. The US government has about $9 trillion it has to refinance over the next year. So a higher bond yields require higher interest payments. Currently this year, they're projected to reach about $1 trillion in interest rate payments, and that's higher than the defense spending budget that they have this year. This, along with the lack of development in the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency Committee, causes a lot more focus on the 10-year bond yields.
Okay, and last question. I get this from clients all the time. Everyone gets this question. Where do we see the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar exchange rate going in the next, say, 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, so there's two focuses when it comes to the Canadian dollar. The first one being the trade deal and tariffs. So if we do see a positive coming out from there, then we expect the Canadian dollar to get a bit of a pop. But if there is no progress on the tariff front, then we expect the Canadian dollar to remain range-bound around here. Secondly, the Canadian dollar tends to underperform the markets, underperform the US dollar during a recession. So those two combined are the big factors when it comes to the Canadian dollar. So in order for us to get the Canadian dollar to go up, we need to have a trade deal as well as avoid a deep recession in Canada.
Okay, thanks, Justin. So what I'm hearing is we're de-risking the portfolios in all these times of uncertainty. We're on our toes, as Wayne likes to always say, and we're ready to move based on all of this multitude of information that's coming at us on a daily basis. Thank you for answering all these questions. If any of you are having further questions on what we talked about today, please reach out to your portfolio manager. And if you have any other questions, make sure to reach out to your portfolio manager. Thank you so much for joining us.